Good afternoon, US. Good evening, UK. Hope everyone's well. And I hope you've all had a wonderful weekend. So tonight I'm really excited. I'm going to be speaking to Michael and Carla. How you doing, guys?
Doing
well.
good.
That's cool. As ever with the show, I always start speaking to the guests and finding out where they first encountered the paranormal or something unusual which they couldn't explain. So both Michael and Carl have something kind of in common that they experienced this at an early age. So let's start off with Michael's story then. So your first encounter.
Okay, so my first encounter was when I was 2 years old. I was up in an attic of a two-story home and I had a basement. And in talking with my parents and some other people over the years about it, I found out the hole was actually covered by wood, and I was had my hands on it, and you're pretty sturdy. Looking down, and next thing I know, I'm being pulled into the shaft and falling. And it's like, to me, it's like time froze because all of a sudden I'm like having this long conversation with this being or light source, and all of a sudden another like white light being came in and was like, okay, and kind of took over and helped me get to the ground basement level unharmed, to where the only thing that happened was I nicked my eyebrow, which to this
Oh,
day the hair doesn't grow in one spot.
oh
But
my
I had no
gosh.
broken bones, no nothing. And everybody that I talked to says it was a really fast fall. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. And so it's like I literally was pulled out of time and
Wow.
put back into time.
Wow.
And I didn't really start to remember. All I remembered was falling down the shaft. And then when I became a teenager, I started having memories of what was happening during the fall.
Oh
So
my
it came to me
gosh.
much later, and I still, to this day, am getting pieces to that puzzle.
Wow. So what exactly do you think happened then? What?
I felt like it was a moment in my life to where I was given like one of those choices of, we can either go, you can hit the concrete really hard and probably check yourself out of this world and start it, reincarnate again and start over, or we can, help you land to where you can go on. And so I was like, I like to tell everyone it too. I was negotiating conditions for my landing and future too,
Oh,
going
wow.
forward in the paranormal field. And except I didn't know I was going to be in the paranormal field.
Yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. But
It is.
yeah, like yeah, with the,
I mean,
what the hell?
it
There are no
boggles even my
words.
parents because
Nothing
like
shuts me up. Nothing. But that does. It's like what the my
I
god.
don't. It was like so I've always seen shadows growing up, and then I started watching it on TV and was like, well, that looks pretty cool and looks like something fun, and I bet I could do. And thought, well, but it's only on TV. And then about 4 or 5 years ago, a team contacted me from a Facebook group, and I went and investigated the next day, and I was like, I was hooked.
Yeah, it's dangerous, isn't it? As soon as like you kind of go and then something just grabs you and that's it. You just
Mhm.
end up spending loads of money, meet loads of people, you travel stupid
Oh
out
yeah,
at night, you're tired during the day and yeah, it's
yeah.
brilliant. It really is. So and that says were you scared? Like I just my God, I just can't get over that story. It's just mad, isn't it? It's
The funny thing is
wow.
I don't think I really was scared because to me it was like I viewed it as I just I don't think at 2 I had a real
You wouldn't
sense of
know.
what happened. Like I knew I fell, but when you're 2, you think, oh, I fell. You fall from a tree, you just get up.
Yeah,
It's
it's
no
just
big deal.
thing, wasn't it?
And I don't think I at the time had a concept of how far the fall was and going how lucky I was to get up and be like just walk away from it.
Wow. What did your family say? Wow, what have the family told you since, basically? Because you wouldn't know much about too, wouldn't
Yeah,
contemplate any of it, would you? But
they just were saying stuff like I had to be protected, and they were astonished because
wow,
they were like, "Yeah, you had no broken bones, no nothing. That you must have something had to happen.
something.
Like something helped you land safely."
Wow, that's just incredible. It might be a family member. C-
It could
it-
be.
It's just like whether you do past life regression picks something up, or whether a medium at some stage picks something up to provide more sort of bits of the story. I don't
Well,
know.
actually, I was talking with a medium who was a guest on our show, Catherine Sorlos, and she was telling me she picked up on. I only knew of one person that I was talked to during the fall, and she said no, actually there was two. And I always thought of it as I fell, and she said the being that I was talking to first, before the white being, grabbed my arms and pulled me in by accident. They didn't mean to pull me in, but they had so much force on me that I fell in. And so they're like, yeah, they accidentally pulled you into the shaft. So it was
Wow.
like, that's why I say is I keep getting more pieces of the story, and it's like, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you mentioned Catherine as well. I'm going to be speaking to her soon. So I'm looking forward to that conversation.
Oh yeah,
That'll be
Yeah.
exciting.
she's coming back on our show in November.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Like, I was away and I always get inspired by guests and I never really plan. And all of a sudden, I find 4 people or 4 groups of people I want to speak to. So I just line them up and yeah. So it's so
Yeah.
cool. So yeah. Carla, your story then.
So I don't have a story that even compares.
How'd
Mine,
you beat that one?
mine was, I really can't. I could make up stuff, but
Yeah.
It's not a competition.
it's not. So, my first experience was when I was younger. It was around 6 or so, and it was it was just I was noticing things moving in my bedroom, toys, things on the bed would just move across the bed,
Wow.
just different things that I knew, like my parents hadn't been in the room to move stuff, and and I was the only kid, and so there was no other answer for anything. So I didn't know what it was. I didn't know what the word paranormal was or anything like that. I just knew that I was kind of afraid. It's just one of those when you're a kid and it's just like you go to bed and you flip the light switch off and run and jump on the bed because
Yeah.
you don't want anything that could be under the bed to get you or anything. But so it was just stuff like that, and I didn't really think a whole bunch of it. Nothing ever happened. Nothing bad happened. It just kind of settled down, and then later on in my teenage life, and then in early 20s, um, I was a very outgoing person and very social. Was a singer in a band and stuff.
Wow.
Wait,
So
what?
not afraid to be around,
Awesome.
not afraid to be around people or crowds or anything like that. But then as I started getting older, I just noticed I was starting to have a little bit more sensitivity to things, and large crowds started to bother me. It was just like there was just too much going on, and I couldn't absorb it all. And so I kind of started uh, getting more curious as to like, what is this all about? Because this is not my
Mm.
normal personality. I feel like I'm kind of being not isolated, but like pulled aside to
Wow.
an extent to where, maybe I have a different purpose than being out there and doing all that type of a thing. And so I started becoming more sensitive to my surroundings, and on investigations, I notice I get more emotional. So I don't know if it's just the energy that I'm encountering, or residual energy.
Yeah.
But then I kind of started getting into, I started looking for paranormal groups and started researching a
Okay.
little bit more. And that's how I started
Wow.
getting
Uh,
involved with the teams.
okay, so when you started being more sort of empathic and picking up the surroundings and the emotion from the people surrounding you, had you had a ha, lost somebody who was close to you, or had you had any turmoil or bad experiences? What
Um,
could have then sort of led you to this?
I don't I don't know, because at the time that I was starting to feel um, the overwhelmingness of everything was, um, I didn't have family deaths then. I had them
Okay.
later.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what did it, if there was any one thing or if it was just like an evolution.
Wow.
Um, I'm not sure what did it. All I know is that I'm trying to research more about how to maybe fine tune it, or
Yeah.
welcome it instead of trying to always push it aside.
Yeah. Totally get you. I've got a comment here from Annette Bates. Basically, like she's an empath and thinks it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. Because it is, isn't it? Like if
Yes.
you're in a band, obviously you've got all that emotion around you, but then you kind of wanted to like keep away from people, didn't you?
Yeah.
To some
Um,
degree.
it is very much like that, because when I need to be alone or downtime, it has to be quiet. Like, it's the only
Okay.
time my mind can calm down a little bit. But I've been told by a couple people that I'm an empath, and
Wow.
that I just need to strengthen my abilities.
Yeah.
So,
Sort of learn how to use it and also to sort of
yes,
control it, basically.
exactly.
So that it doesn't always impact you.
Hmm.
Potentially, if you ground yourself and protect and
Yep.
just like say, go away a bit, and just,
Yeah.
yeah, keep it sort of away from you to some degree. Karen Gibbons has asked for a reading. We don't actually do readings on this show, unfortunately. Sometimes do have guest mediums on, and yeah, I will be in like a few weeks, but this is just a chat really about paranormal and people's experiences within the field. So if you've got any like paranormal sort of questions, that's great. Okay. So sorry about that, Karen. Thank you. Michael, we did have a question for you though about, I believe. Here we go. I did have it. And a big welcome to David Scott as well. Thank you so much. Yeah, I'm going to meet David Scott in a few weeks. Going to be investigating Derby Jail, so looking forward to that one.
Nice.
Thanks so much. So one back to Michael. Does it scare you now? Then what happened? If you're
Um, I'd have to say
experienced.
no, because I think it more validated how I feel, because as Carla will tell you, I'm one of those investigators, like if something's going on, I'll run to it. It's like I don't have any fear of what's ahead. And so I'm like, yeah, so it's like I don't have fear of it. And it's like I feel like that event kind of reinforces, like I was told that, something's always watching over me. So I feel like, yeah, I have that ability of being able to walk into any situation and know that if I get overwhelmed, I can step out. But
Yeah.
either way, I'm protected, so nothing can
Yeah.
hurt me really.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, how did you two meet then? I know it's in your bio, so let's ask Carla this one.
Yeah, I'll let Carla
We
answer
actually,
that.
What's the true story here then?
oh, I could make this really good, but
Yeah, you
I'll
could.
stick
Yeah,
to
she
the facts. We met on an investigation. We were investigating Broken Bow Asylum in Oklahoma. And I was all by myself. And he and another investigator were like, "Well, do you want to come investigate with us?" And it's like, "Sure." It was one of my earlier investigations, and so I was still kind of green and learning everything. So I hung out with them, and that's how I met Michael.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Been together ever
And
since.
Yeah, and then the funny part about it is it was like a little while since our paths crossed again, and
Yeah.
she was like, "Hey, you're gonna be at this event? Yeah, cool. So am I. Let's do this. Okay."
Oh wow.
And then we just started going. Like we've
More
investigated Jefferson together. We've gone
Old
to
Park.
Old Park. We've gone to. We started investigating together a
Yeah.
lot, and so we found our paths mix and
Yeah.
really well to investigate.
Yeah.
You've got great energy together. Do you generally get activity?
Yeah.
I bet you do because of your energy. You know, you got such a bright, light energy in the air.
Yeah.
I guess you always do because yeah, you can tell. You can tell you just work together so well. You have a
Yeah.
laugh.
There's a good balance there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she knows me enough to know if I'm starting to get sounding too weird, even for me, that she's like, "All right, let's go outside, take a break."
Yeah.
I
Do
need
you
to
have
regroup for a minute.
And I know her well enough to know that if she's telling me it's time to regroup, there's a reason to regroup.
Yeah.
That she's not just like, "I'm bored, let's go."
Yeah.
There's something going on.
Oh, bless you. Do you find you get overshadowed or spirit close to you quite a bit then? Do they challenge you, Michael?
I've only been challenged one time, and this was, I think it was actually before I met Carla, but I was at a house that was one of our governor's homes, I believe it was. It was the Riser Hospital, is what they turned it into in Bonham. And I was up in an attic area, and the spirits were like, "Well, we want so and so, who's guest speaking." And I was like, "Okay." And I'm like, "But do you want me to stay?" "Yeah." And in that moment, when everybody left, all of a sudden they were like, who are you that you're here? And I'm like, "Who do you think I?" And it's like we started like going face to
Bantering
face
back and forth.
about to, and I was like, I felt like energetically fists were about to go flying.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not backing down. You're not attaching to me. You're not going home with me. You're not going to hurt me. I'm like, you can try, but it ain't going to happen. Like, I could feel him like grabbing my arm, trying to like squeeze it to where I'd be like, "Okay, I submit." And I'm like looking at him like, "You can squeeze my arm all you want. I'm not submitting."
Oh,
And they were
wow.
like, "Why?" And I'm like, "You don't know who I am." And I'm like, it's like, all of a sudden, it's like I could tell by the energy that all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, this is not someone we want to mess with," and pulled back. And just in that instance, everybody came up the steps and were coming into the room. And I was like, "Okay, thank God," because I was not sure I could hold that stance much longer.
Oh, God. No way. Yeah, it can be strong sometimes, though, can't it? There's
Yeah.
a few times like mediums will like step close to me and told something to back off, and I wanted to punch them. And it's like, it's a bit dodgy, isn't it?
It's kind of scary because, I mean, you're sitting here like talking. Well, in this case, I was talking to something through someone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm also at the same time going, I hope this person doesn't think I'm talking to them
Yeah.
and that I'm
Yeah.
talking to who's coming through them. And so it's like I'm partly guarded for that because I'm like, I don't want to scare this person. And at the same time, it's like, yeah, it's a fine balance we have to walk. And I'm Carla will tell you, I'm one of those that I do not engage spirits unless I have to. I'm like, I'm not
Right.
like the Zach Baggins type
Oh God,
Oh, you
no.
mean provoke?
or
Yeah.
provoke.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
no. Oh
Nope.
no.
That's one of our things that we make sure, and I think that's why there's a good balance there, and we investigate so well, is that we both have the same, investigation ethics, I guess you would say, as far as
Yeah.
not provoking, no Ouija boards, none of that type of stuff. It's just
Yeah.
yeah.
learning
We
the
we let each
history.
other
Yeah.
do the styles we like. Like she likes Estes,
Oh, I
and
love
so
that.
I love it too.
I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, we can do Estes. And if I'm like, hey, let's do EVP, she's
Yep.
like, okay.
Yeah.
But we never say to each other, no, we can't do that. We don't want to do that here. It's like we'll
Yeah.
we'll try everything together, back
Yeah.
and forth with styles, and I think that's what works for us. And if things start going wayward, we're always like looking at each other, going, well, we can see where this is going, and we know we got each other's back, or
Yeah.
we can say, hey, this
Yeah.
isn't doing what we think. Let's just call it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Yep.
bless you. I've got a comment here from Annette Bates. So basically, she's 55 and only found out a couple of years ago. Carla, do strangers feel the need to tell you their problems? She had a lady coming up to her and telling her all about her husband who had passed away and how much she loved and missed him. And yeah, that's the
Yes.
thing about being empathic, isn't it? It's
I know you feel like you're kind of like a Dear Abby all of a sudden.
oh
Oh,
gosh,
yeah.
yeah,
Everybody starts coming to you, and I mean, people that you know nothing about.
yeah,
And then so it kind of makes you feel uncomfortable a little bit. I mean, it's different if it's acquaintances, but when
yeah,
you first meet someone and then they just start going
yeah.
off, you're like, oh my gosh,
Oh God,
Yeah.
it's weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember I'd come home and be like talking to my mom, and I'm like, yeah, I got so many people's life stories today. And then she's like, who are these people? I'm like, I don't even know. I just met them for the first time.
Right.
And I just got their life story. And I'm like, I never understood why they would do that.
Yeah.
yeah. I guess my mum always did that. Like she had a shop, and I used to call it doom and gloom because like all the locals went in and they said that this person had died or that person was ill, and all
Mhm.
day she was getting all these stories and like, oh God, you just went to see her and it just did your head in. And it's like, no, get me out of here, you know. But
Yeah.
oh wow, she really helped people loads. But
Yeah.
oh wow, you know,
It well, I see, and so that's why I feel a lot of times that my energy just gets zapped.
yeah, of
I'm
course,
even after an investigation, and we might not have had that much activity, or there was just a lot of residual stuff, or it wasn't that intense of an investigation. But I tell you, the next day I sleep
bless you.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you get the paranormal hangover then.
Yeah, I did.
Totally.
For
Oh,
sure.
bless you. Wow.
Yeah.
What's the worst paranormal hangover you've had then, Michael? The worst. Where was
The
it?
worst
Was it?
paranormal hangover, I would say coming back from a road trip where I was going from place to place and having experiences we weren't planning on it.
Oh
Some were
wow.
scheduled, but some were just happened to happen. And feeling like, okay, I'm finally home. I can finally put my guard down and rest. And yeah, I think like Carla said, it's like I slept probably for like 12 hours.
Right, and it
Just,
just came at you. Just
Yeah.
boom. Oh wow.
Yes.
but yeah, but I will say, as much as they're awkward and kind of pulling on the body. I love road trips, paranormal road
Yeah.
trips.
God,
Same.
Yeah, I had a weird experience. I had a 2 weeks holiday, and I ended up going to this balloon festival where I took part in it. It's getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning and going to bed about 10:30 for the next. There you go, round again. So I drove home from that on Sunday, and I was shattered, and I was that tired I had to pull up. So I pulled off the main freeway, I think you call it, and just went off a side road, and then saw a sign for an abbey. So I had to go to it.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's Rush Abbey. I've heard about it for ages. So I just luckily found a garage and there was a sign. I thought, well, what do? Just check your sat nav. Yeah, it's like 2 miles away, and like, oh, I've got to go. So I
Yeah.
got home a bit later than I should have done, but hey ho.
Yeah, I tend to
Wow.
drive home after investigations if they're like 4 hours or less. And
Yeah.
it's because like 3 hours is my preferred, but it's like you're saying, you start to get tired and then you're like, oh, I can see the city I live in on the outskirts. I'm almost there, and it's like you get a
Yeah,
sudden
well,
rush. It's like, okay, I'm home.
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Like you do about 3 hours. I think most of ours are about 6. So
The drive?
we kind of do like 8 till 2 or something. So that's a lot of that, but obviously
Yeah.
you have a break in between, and you do different vigils. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
okay then, that leads me to it then. Like, if you do an investigation, how do you do that then? Do you sort of go into one room, get drawn? Okay, if it's an investigation night, from going in, what do you do for the whole night? How does it work? So you get your equipment ready and then do a vigil, or
The thing is like with Michael and I, again, it goes back to you kind of read each other. He uses equipment to start that I'm not using. I use different pieces of
okay,
equipment.
yeah,
So it's kind of like what's going to work.
yeah.
And then, you can either switch to it or we'll just keep going with you doing, having certain pieces of equipment, me having certain pieces of equipment, because it brings different reactions or different.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you sort
And
of get different reactions in like different areas, don't you? Because
Mhm.
spirit prefer different methods, don't they? Like we do.
right.
So
And
yeah.
it's like Carla said, like when I'm picking out what I'm using, I usually use just an IR camera. Now I have a body camera that I use sometimes
Oh, cool.
because I have the lovely feature that every paranormal investigator knows is you turn the camera off to change the battery, and that's when something happens. And it's like,
Yeah.
so the body camera, at least you have the hopes of will pick it up.
And does
But
it?
sometimes, and sometimes it does some weird stuff on its own.
Oh.
Carl and I
We're
were,
still we're still mastering the body cam.
well, the interesting thing about the body camera that I can share is we were both did an investigation at Broken Bow. It was my 4th time there. So as spirits, you're there more often, get to know you. I feel like they interact with you more. So this being my 4th one, all of a suddenly I was like drawn to this hallway. They're in the room trying to connect with the spirit of a little kid through a doll. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to go check out this hallway. And Andrew, a friend of mine who's kind of like a medium somewhat, came out and was like talking to me and seeing what's going on. And somebody from another team we were collaborating with came out. And all of a sudden, both of them are like, Michael, there's a spirit coming up to you. And I'm like, I can see the blue sparkles coming off of it. And I'm like, it got up into my face. Sorry. And Andrew, bless his heart, leans over to me and goes, Michael, it's right in front of you. And in my head, I'm sitting there going, you think? I'm looking right at it, face to
My
face.
God.
And he's like, and there's something off to the right. I'm like, I'm not, like you were saying, I'm not looking off to the right with this thing in my face until it backs off because I don't know what it's going to do.
Yep.
Wow.
And meanwhile, when I go to review the footage from that encounter, the body cam was turned to the left. So it never saw what was coming from the right. It turned itself. And I was like, well, that's not helpful. And then, so I go to see what the sound was that we heard on the right. And I saw a red light from over there. And I was like, there's no red light. So I went to look and I go into the room. My body camera records 28 seconds of me going into the room, stops recording. And meanwhile, it's set to record in 5-minute intervals. So
All
it
right.
only recorded 28 seconds. I see this white mass in front of me, and it starts coming towards me. And I go, and I looked at it and I go, you ain't attaching to me. You ain't going home with me. You
Yeah.
can stay here all you want. And then it backed off. And I go outside. As I turned the corner back into the hallway, my body camera started recording again.
See, I think that they mess with us.
Oh,
Oh,
they do.
God, they do.
Yeah.
They've got to
That's
have
what
a
they
laugh, you know.
Oh, for
Yeah,
sure.
and
Right, we would, wouldn't we?
And I talked to all my friends that use the body camera, and I was like, have you ever had the body camera just stop recording and start up? And they're like, not that I ever pushed the button for it to do it. And I was like, yeah, I didn't push the button either. But so it's like we all were in agreement. Something paranormal messed with the body camera because it doesn't just shut itself off and turn itself back on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's mad, though. I get it with my cell phone as well, my mobile. Like, there's once, like, I was getting in a van. My car had broke down, but there's nothing absolutely wrong with it. And I know my mum messed about with it. And I knew she'd done it before. So basically the gearbox had just broken. I couldn't get it into gear. So I know you drive automatics, don't you, out there? The gear shift couldn't get it in, right?
Right.
So the tow truck came, you know. So I just had to get it in, try and get it onto a tow truck, push it forward, and it worked perfectly. So it was 100%
crazy.
fine, but it took me home. There you go. It's all because I was running out of petrol. So, yeah, mum affected the gearbox. So basically, I parked at a garage and I didn't need petrol to get home. But
Yeah.
But I've got more than that stories, but there you go. And as I got in the car, I got my phone. And all of a sudden, at the back pocket, it was on screen lock, it was singing, this kid sing, wear a mask, wear a mask. Because it's COVID time, okay. So we've just been free from COVID. So at the back pocket, it was this damn. I got it out, and there's these cartoon characters singing, wear a mask. I don't know. And because he's like, oh, do you want to wear a mask? No, it's all right, you know. Anyway, it got a cold, hadn't it? So I felt shock in the next few days.
Wow.
You know, and it's like, why the hell? So, you know, these things happen with the electronic equipment, don't they? And
Oh, yeah.
And it's,
Carla and I have a friend, Shauna, and she runs a haunted house in October in a haunted location. And we used to be in a hospital, but we moved to a military base, abandoned building. Well, two, actually.
Wow.
But her phone, it was hilarious. It would be on a counter or in her back pocket, and it would start calling us and start sending us these gibberish text messages, like, repeatedly. And we're like, what in the world? And we would make a joke out of it. And I'd show her my phone, and there'd be like 6 text messages from her, all characters, no words. And I'm like, were you drunk? And she's laughing. She goes, my phone is over there on the counter. I don't even have it on me.
Oh my
And
gosh.
then, as we're talking, another text would come in, and so it just became this joke amongst all of us working with her. Whose turn is it now?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, it's just unbelievable, isn't it? But yeah, like the technology side, you get a camera going, it stops happening. You can have
Yep.
activity all night, set the camera off, nothing, and it's just amazing, isn't it? I just love it, the way spirit works and everything.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
like they know it.
Yeah.
yeah, definitely.
The only
So
thing I'll say I don't like about the body cams is I had one. I didn't realize I filled up the card because I hadn't used it very long. Went through an entire investigation, and it shows it's recording. Even the battery went down, and so I plugged it in and going, and the lights are on. Recording lights are on. Nothing recorded because the chip was full. I was like, it would have been nice for it to say, have like a sound that says, "Hey, your chip is full."
oh, nightmare.
It's like take the lens off the camera.
Oh
So
gosh.
yeah, it's like now I double check
Yeah.
before every investigation what's on that card.
Oh
Yep.
gosh. What a
That or going
nightmare.
through batteries like crazy.
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I think, like, for me, like, I never had a battery drain for ages, and then it happens more frequently. So I don't know. I don't get it, but it's one of those, isn't it?
Maybe that's where their source of choice to start pulling energy.
Yeah, definitely. If it's not us,
Yeah,
because
that
they
could
do
be.
try and get the
Yeah.
energy from us as well, don't they?
Yeah.
yeah.
I've got sort of David Scott, who sort of says, like, how do you channel to talk to him, because he went to Derby Jail and they tried speaking, so they're connected sort of to him. But I think you need to be really careful if you do that, if you're not experienced, don't you? If
I would
you
agree
sort of
with
get a
that.
connection. Yeah, so, but I'll be speaking to David soon anyway, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need to kind of ground and protect yourselves if you're sort of going into this more. Do you two ground and protect?
Yes.
And set up rules. I always
Oh yeah.
when
Boundaries.
when I was channeling when I was in my 20s, I'd always set up rules like it would be during this time when I'm in this mode and not while I'm sleeping, not while I'm driving. And
Oh gosh, yeah.
because there would be times like I would be driving and all of a sudden I'd get where I was going and it would be like, how did I just get here? My last
Oh,
memory was getting on a highway, and next thing I know, it's 45 minutes later.
yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like, thank God I got there okay. But it's like, I was like, then I started going, okay, guys, not while I'm behind the wheel.
Yeah. Yeah. We do a
Yeah.
pretty good job of protecting and cleansing ourselves like after an
That's
investigation
brilliant.
as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Bring
yeah.
out the sage and everything.
Oh, you sage then.
Mhm.
Yep, we
cool.
sage and we even sage spray.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah. Yeah,
Even
because
the vehicle. Even the vehicle.
yeah. Well, you can.
Mhm.
It's energy, isn't it? And
Yep.
I've got to be careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely.
I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like we're naive to think we can keep energy in one spot from going anywhere else, but it's like we can't guarantee it's going to stay where it is, but we can at least protect
You
ourselves so
can
it
try.
doesn't
Yeah.
come with us directly.
Right.
Yeah. I've had them go home with me directly, and one of them wasn't very pleasant. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's just strange like mad.
Be
It does.
scary
But
for
Yeah.
sure.
yeah, you don't kind
Um,
of realize at first, but you're just continuously tired and thinking, well, this ain't right. And I went to a
yeah.
doctor and said, oh no, you're right. But after a while, you think,
I
I
think
have
I
a
know what it is.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know who he is. I didn't like him then.
Get out.
Yeah.
To answer David's question, I do have a YouTube channel, and I will give it to Jacqueline so that she can
Oh,
put it
brilliant! Yeah,
on the post for everybody.
yeah. I will do that. Yeah. So there you go, David. I'll put that out for you later on. So we've got a question here from Andy. Thanks for this. Have you both been in different areas or rooms at an investigation venue and both sensed exactly the same thing and at the same time in different areas?
Boy, have we, Carla?
I don't I don't know that we have.
I don't think I've had that with you, but I have had it
Mhm.
with someone else.
Okay, that's interesting. So,
Yeah.
because you got such good energy, but you're not kind of picking up and driving off each other in that way. But you are energy wise, obviously.
Yeah.
Right.
But you're not sort of linking into the same
Well,
time.
actually, I think there is that one time.
Is it at Old Park?
No, at the PX building, the doll, when
Oh,
we were investigating that.
that's
We were
right.
in different areas and we
Yes.
converged to go check on this couple that was in a doll room area. And we go in there and they're like, "You guys have to hear this." And there's a there's a doll giggling, and we're like, I'm looking at her, and I look at this couple from Chicago. Bless their hearts. I probably was so mean to them, but I was like, "No, there is no dolls
Bet.
giggling in here. I have been here for
Wow.
several months. There is no giggle." And they're like, "You got to hear this. It happens every 12 minutes." I'm like, and I'm like, in my head, I'm going, "Y'all are nuts. What are y'all trying to pull?"
Yeah, we kind of
And
thought that they instigated something.
yeah, I'm like, what are,
Okay.
I thought they were messing with us. And then all of a sudden it was like, we heard it. And I'm like, and then we spent like 2.5 hours trying to figure out where it's coming from all night.
Because it sounded, no matter where you were standing in the room, it sounded like it came from different directions, but it
Yes.
was one wicked laugh.
Oh wow.
And it did it like you said, every 11 to 12 minutes. So
Oh my gosh.
once we figured out that there was a pattern, we started timing it, and then we'd all like head to different spots to see if we could all hear it. And then I'm like, okay, in about 15 seconds, something's going to happen. And it does. And everybody comes back with a different direction that they heard it from. And it's just like,
I've
We
had that.
even went in a circle
yeah.
in the same place, in the same room, and none of us could figure out where it came from.
And the thing
Wow.
is that the dolls that were in there had no batteries and no animatronics attached
Yeah.
to anything. There was nothing.
And
Oh,
to kind of make sure it wasn't them pranking us, because they were in the room the whole time,
okay.
Carla, a friend of ours, Tony, and I went with a friend of mine, Cindy, who does the mannequins there. And we were like, y'all got to hear this. And we waited, and sure enough, the giggle returned. And we spent another like couple hours there going, where's this coming from? And all of us were like, we baffled beyond belief.
My
We
gosh.
couldn't figure out still where this is coming from. So we're like, we know it wasn't someone pranking us. There was something there. But the
And
trippy
Cindy,
part is, ever since that night, though, I haven't heard it again. It was
and
like
there's
it
been
was
no
Wow.
meant
resolution.
just for that night and the following.
But I tell
Wow.
you what, the person that Cindy that was in charge of animatronics and all the dolls and all the mannequins and stuff like that that are in there, she's I, I think she still questions paranormal
Oh,
stuff
she's a
in
Okay.
general.
skeptic.
She's a skeptic, but she heard that and she's like, no way.
Brilliant.
No way.
That's
Yeah,
cool. Yeah.
she'll,
It's
she'll
sorry,
yeah. I was
Michael.
gonna say she laughs and she'll smile when I bring it up, and she goes, "I don't know what that was. That was just crazy." She won't admit it's paranormal, but she can't
We have
deny
no
it either.
explanation.
Got no explanation. That's cool. Like it's funny how you say about sound. Like loads of times I've been in a room and someone's heard a noise like that direction, and I've heard it in that direction, and you can never work out where it's coming from. But to everyone, it just sounds like it's from somewhere else, and I don't know how that works.
That's why we thought if we all got in a circle,
Yeah,
then the next time it went off, it's like
it'd be
we'd
over
be
there.
able to figure it out. But
Yeah.
it's like,
Yeah.
I don't get it.
The one about sound that trips me out, Jacqueline, is when you're in a room with two other people and they're like, "Oh my gosh, did you hear that?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't hear anything." And the other person's like, "Yeah, sounds like it came from over here." And I'm like, "Why didn't I
Yeah,
hear it? What?
yeah,
What? Why am I excluded from this?"
yeah. I get that as well. It's like
You
really
weren't
annoying,
missing
isn't it?
it.
Yeah, yeah. But like, there's once I saw like not orbs, but with my own eyes, so sort of spirit lights. And I stand well twice actually. I've been like we've been in a circle and I've seen lights, and you like looked at the person next door and like looked at each other at the same time, and you've both seen it. And for both of you to see that is great validation.
Yes.
And
Right.
I was at Matlock Pavilion, which is sort of a old theatre sort of place in little Derbyshire, at a seaside resort. Like people just go there to relax and things like that. Back in like the Victorian age, and we're just like in a circle once again, and we're looking at the stage, and this dark mass, and it's just getting stronger and stronger, and it got a face on it all of a sudden. And once me and this person were like, "Whoa, let me see this," and I don't know. It's just weird how two can see it and not everyone, or
I think it's selective. It's almost
Yeah,
like it wasn't meant for anyone else to
yeah.
see or
It's
experience.
strange, isn't it?
Mhm.
Hmm. So, David, no, we have not debunked the dolls.
Ah,
We think we know the source of it, but we can't explain it yet. Still,
oh wow, that's cool. So I've got a question here from Casey. Then, do you ever get experience or spirits come to you when you're out and about doing normal things like shopping, etc.? You kind of said that you try and set them boundaries, but you get them sort of coming to you? Start with you, Michael.
I will say that I can sense them, but if I'm not in a place where I'm comfortable engaging them, I'll be like, I'll sense them and just kind of be like, okay, acknowledge they're there and move on. But if I'm in a place where I can talk to them or engage them, depending on how comfortable I am in the place, I
Yeah,
may.
that's it.
But usually I tend to wait until I know I'm on kind of like grounds that I'm comfortable with. And so I'm like, more like I feel like aware of the environment than in a strange place where I'm like, well, is this really this or am I hearing something else? And
Yeah.
so I kind of wait for a familiar place to engage.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool. What about you then, Carla?
I haven't I don't think I've had like the feeling of a spirit like if I'm out shopping or whatever. There's has been instances where I've just been outside by myself and I've felt uh energy, like energy
Oh,
that's not just being outside.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
like there's something there. But I usually just have a habit of just talking, like, "Hey,
Yeah. No, I did earlier.
what
Yeah.
are you doing?" type of a thing. But I haven't had anything like during work or during shopping, or I haven't experienced.
Yeah, I had something today. Like I was busy working, just start a new job. I'm working from home, and there's something like making a noise just near me. It's like, "Hi, guy. I can't speak to you
Yeah,
now. I'm busy. Sorry, come back later." But it's
I know. I
like,
mean, seriously, you do get to the point where you're You're just staring like I'm either too tired or let's do this tomorrow.
I felt really bad, but you've got
Yeah.
work to do, and it's like you hear it first, you think, yeah, okay, I don't know what's caused that, maybe you try and work out a reason, then it happens like 4 other times, like, okay, there's no reason for this, but yeah.
What's really funny is to get reactions of people like even in my own house, even though I don't sense anything here, my dogs, especially my golden retriever, she'll all of a sudden get up and stare into like a hallway with nothing. And then everybody looks at her, and then they're like, what the hell? And then they look at me like, what did you bring home? It's like, no. Don't be putting all that on me.
Yeah.
I probably heard the air conditioning kick on and shut a door.
Yeah, there's always something in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, if a dog growls at something, it's fine.
That's right.
Yeah. But Carla brings up a good point there that I think a lot of investigators overlook is, like she said, it was probably the AC kicked on and closed the door. A lot of times investigators will just say, oh my gosh, something slammed the door. Well, there could have been a gust of wind.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You have to rule it all out, yeah.
Yeah, you have to be careful when you're, calling something out. That was it legit that, or was it, something happened, like the perfect storm, like a gust of wind came by and
that's right. Somebody opened the door to the building.
Mm-hmm.
Like, where's the movement of everyone else around you?
Yeah, that's another thing that Michael and I do well together, is that we're very good with trying to debunk first and then figure everything else out past that.
Yeah. I'd love to work with you guys because you sort of work the similar way. You just go to the nth degree, and then if you can't debunk it, then you
start documenting.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
But that's the only way, as far as I can see. And you do it like in a friendly way as well. Like, you're not antagonizing them or anything. So yeah.
No,
I love it how you guys work.
I had a friend that has a show, and she was telling me on the show she likes watching me because, like, I would put videos of my investigations on my channel, and then I started trimming them down to just evidence. But she goes, I like how when you're in a room that's supposed to be a kid's room, you will naturally, your whole demeanor and conversation changes to a kid level.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then when you leave, it kicks back to a normal level. It's like you go to what the spirits are. And I was like, I didn't even realize I was doing that. But yeah. And so she thought that was really cool. I was like, yeah.
Yep.
I like that. So yeah, you definitely need to check out this YouTube channel. But we'll find the link and put it all down so that after the show you can just find the link in the intro, hopefully. Yeah, I'll try and put it in the intro. So I've got a question here from Helen J. Lawson. You mentioned a bit about equipment then. So what's your favourite piece then, Michael?
I would say my favorite is the IR camera, because I can switch it from day to night mode, and it catches stuff in the pitch black that I can't see.
That's cool.
And I'd say my other one that I'm coming to terms with is cat balls.
Oh, I love them.
Investigation. Because it's like, Carla and I have a funny story about, we were one night on a military base in this room, and we had 2 cat balls sitting on a puzzle, and we asked it a question, and all of a sudden one went off.
Mm-hmm.
And the second it stopped, it went off again. And so I'm like, okay, maybe somebody bumped it. But then when it went off, it went back on again, went off, went back on again. I was like, 4 times it did that in a row. Wow. I'm like,
and remember,
not do that.
And remember, we asked it, are you just messing with us? And then it lights up, and it's like, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I love them. I found my dad likes them, so he'll kind of come on investigations sometimes, and I know it's him by his energy. So if I want to laugh, and I know it's him. So yeah, and I got a sort of I've got something similar. Like it's 10 like cat balls on a string in a tube, with one battery source right at the end. So
Mhm.
one power pack, 3 batteries, cable, and 10 tubes. And first time I tried it out, my dad was playing with it in a condemned man's cell in a prison, Derby jail. And yeah, he was just loving it. I thought, you can't be here, Dad, because I just said, is that you? Straight away it came on because he knows like to do, yeah, light it. And yeah, he was answering the questions before I even said it. So yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just funny. It's
Yeah, it
I'd
is.
love to
love
find
it.
out where you got one that's on a battery pack because ours are all built-in batteries to
Oh,
where
I
once
know,
they're done, you throw them
pain. I
away and you order
know.
new ones. It's like,
The
really?
pain. I know. Yeah, I got it from the UK. So basically, it's 10 tubes. I'll show you later. Got footage of them. But yeah, and they're interesting. I'll show you afterwards because yeah, I've got the case right here. But yeah, you've always got the kit near you as well, haven't you?
Right on.
Yeah.
Terrible. Yeah, I know exactly where it is. But yeah, but what about your favourite piece of kit then, Carla?
Mine is actually doing the Estes method.
Yeah.
That's my favorite. That and the dowsing rods.
Oh, dowsing rod. Yeah.
I'm starting to really um, understand those and how to use them properly to where I'm getting some pretty good results. But the
They
Estes
take a
method,
lot of learning,
it
dowsing rods.
does. You wouldn't think that it would, but it does. I mean, you have to lay out the rules ahead of time for everything, and
Well, first time I held them, like little helicopters spinning around, nearly poking me in the eye. It's like, what the hell? So yeah,
oh gosh,
I had a
that's
few
fun.
issues with them at first.
Yeah, I'd say my favorite's the Estes method.
Yeah,
I
that's
like that.
brilliant. I do love that. I've got some great footage to put up on live once. I need to send it to someone first, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
awesome. The,
Yeah.
when you get the responses so quickly, it's just brilliant, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
So Annette Bates then, she's got a lovely question. So, where is the most scariest location that you've ever investigated? Start with Carla this time.
Um, I would have to say Old Park Hotel in Ballinger, Texas, is um, probably one of the scariest ones because I've been there several times, but the first few times or the first couple times I went, there was a lot of places I wouldn't go
Okay.
in, down some of the hallways that
Wow.
allegedly have spirits that don't appreciate company. And
Okay.
and so and there's portals between where the buildings join. And so
Wow.
now I'm a little bit more brave there to go off on my own and
Yeah.
in different places. But I that was the first time I've been scratched is at that
Oh
location.
my gosh. Get
Um,
you.
but it wasn't. I don't. I did not feel anything um, negative. I just think
Okay.
it was someone trying to get my attention, either to stop
Yeah.
talking, quit asking all the questions, or pay attention to them, or whatever it was. Because it was another investigator that looked at my arm and she goes, "Your arm's bleeding."
Oh my
And it's
gosh.
like I never felt it. So that's why I thought, I don't think it was. I think it was just an attention thing.
Yeah, and they got it. Oh my. Oh gosh. Yeah, it's strange when it's been scratched. It's
Yeah.
yeah, but once you've seen, someone a scratch appear on someone's arm, and they've not done it, it's like, wow, yeah, this is right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it does happen, can happen. What
Yeah.
about you then, Michael?
Actually, ironically, I would say to me the scariest location I've been to is across the street from the old Park Hotel, the old Reynolds County Jail, because I was in there one day and we were doing a spirit box session, and all of a sudden I'm sitting there and it's like I feel this pressure on one of my legs, and I'm like, it's like I couldn't move it. And it's like all of a sudden I was like, okay, something is. It's like I could feel energy, like it was sitting on me, basically. And the owner of the old park, Dan, was there, and he looks at me and he's like, Michael, do you have something on your lap? And I was like, yes, I do. And he was like, yeah, we can kind of feel it there. I'm like, yeah, it's sitting on my leg. And it's like, and everybody was astonished that I was sitting there, and I did not move until whatever was sitting on my lap got up.
Oh,
And I was like, and I went upstairs to the next floor. But everybody was like, why didn't you get up and run? And I couldn't believe my answer. My answer was because whatever was on my lap, I was not going to give it a ride out of the building. Like I could control where it goes, but I was like, I was not going to let it attach to me and go somewhere else.
oh God. Yeah. Good
those
point.
those two locations, the hotel and the jail across the street, um, are extremely active. There's a
Wow.
Yeah.
lot of stuff that happens.
But you would have got people in the hotel then going to the jail, wouldn't you? You know, they would have
Yeah.
maybe there's a link of well, yeah, yeah. I guess you get an out of town judge, maybe he'd stay in the hotel, they'll go for drinks after a case. So yeah, you've got the links there, haven't you?
Well, and they also said that they'd done history and they found out women that were in the hotel
Mhm.
would go over and visit the prison,
Oh, okay, yeah.
and prisoners would come over and visit the ladies in the hotel when it was a brothel and
Uh-huh.
go
And there you
back.
have it.
There
So
you
yeah,
go. There's a
they're
link.
saying there's rumors of an underground path or tunnel connecting
Yeah,
the two.
that
And
makes
so yeah,
sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
It's a
Yeah,
good place for
yeah, you
sure.
do find that, don't you? There are often tunnels, aren't there,
yeah.
between sort of
Yeah.
places.
And the fun thing is they did research, and I'm sure you've heard of Bonnie Parker, the
Uh-huh.
mobster.
Yeah.
Her name is on the roster of inmates in that jail. It says Bonnie Parker.
Isn't
Oh
that
wow,
crazy?
that's cool. So
Yeah.
you wonder why there's a bit of activity there then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
one way or another. My God. Yeah, that would lead to a lot of history, wouldn't it? But yeah. Oh, that's brilliant. We've got a story here from Carl. Um, best place he went, arrived early, it started to get dark, saw monks pass in front of a car from the mirror, told the person running the event what he'd seen, and he was told not to say anything. It turned out the monks lived and worked on the land, which, yeah. But people don't always want to sort of say that their location's haunted either, do they?
No,
I
and
think
Yeah.
to
that's the
me that's a
thing.
little sad.
Yeah, I know, because for us it's a draw, isn't it?
I
But
think, like, for instance, mineral wells, I think they're uh, board or community board. I think that I think they don't want a stigma attached to the town
mm,
that they're trying to recreate and rebuild up to get people to come visit. They don't want
where the
the stigma
paranormal people
of a
turning up.
paranormal place that we've got haunted stuff here. And it's like, look at Savannah, Georgia, or Charleston, South Carolina, or any of those that's their historic district. As much as they keep the historic district hotels and stuff like that back and kept up to period time, they keep
Yeah.
the inside and everything like that. but they don't necessarily, if you were to go look up a hotel, post that it's haunted. You can look up things that have gone on there
Yeah.
and stuff, but people flock to that stuff. They're drawn to it and they want to learn more.
Yeah, and because
Yeah.
of maybe the belief of here we go. Sometimes it's a belief of the owner, isn't it, as well?
Yeah.
So they don't want any of, oh no, we're not having that stuff here. There you go.
Yep.
It's going to cause problems, and
Yeah.
but just you just have a paracon there. That's it. Just get the crowds, don't you?
Well, I
Yeah,
think
the jail in the hotel would be cool.
I think also the flip side of, if they're the disbelievers and go, yeah, you said this room was haunted. I stayed there. Nothing happened. So how can it
Oh
be
gosh,
haunted?
yeah, I
It's like
know.
you get both. And so you'll get revenue either way, as the people who
Yeah,
want to prove it and the people who want to disprove it.
that's right.
But I mean, even us, we'll go on investigation events, and it doesn't guarantee you that you're going to have any experience whatsoever.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could go a whole weekend long, and it's just like, it wasn't for me this weekend.
Yeah.
I just didn't get anything.
Yeah, that's
Doesn't
one of
mean
my
that
pet
something's not
peeves.
there.
Yeah, it's one of my pet peeves about the TV shows now.
Oh
Is
god.
they make everything look like you start, you finish, the next day you're presenting, and it's not a one night deal. They're usually there a week or so, gathering all this up for 1 hour episode, and
Yes.
they make it look like it's an overnight thing to the point like when Carla and I were in Jefferson doing a ghost walk. I took a photo, and a guy walked up to me because we had introduced ourselves as paranormal investigators. And I took a photo, and he saw me take a photo. He goes, "What'd you get?" And I was like,
What'd
"I
you
don't
see?
know."
What'd you see? It's
Yeah,
like
I was like, "What's the
nothing.
review?" I don't know. It's not instant, people.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's so funny. Oh gosh.
Quick hi. I'm actually on
Hello.
Shannon's show on Thursday night, so I'll be answering questions on there. So yeah, hi Shelley.
Hey, Shelley.
And David says the Estes method is amazing. Sorry,
It
I've
is amazing.
just kind of missed half a comment. Sorry about that, everyone. I've just been too engrossed in your stories. I really have,
Yeah. See,
But
that's why I'm blessed to have Carla on my show. Is if I'm too engaged, she can pop the questions up, and vice versa. We play off each other well and keep up with the
yeah,
chat room.
I kind of like if someone's got a story, then I'm not going to put into the story,
Sure.
because you guys have you've got some brilliant tales. So yeah, I kind of got a bit behind on the comments, and I must apologise about that. So I'm trying to get some sense now out of what's being said.
Yeah.
Because this was kind of
What
a while
Andy's
ago.
saying.
But
Agree.
yeah, everything
Yeah.
the season feels
I
differently.
agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, even Carla and I, we can go in a room and we'll have totally different experiences in the same room.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Which is
who
kind
have
of
you?
cool because it just makes you document more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're picking up different sides, aren't you?
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
I
I'd love to
have
go to
not been
Waverly
there
Hills.
yet.
Where's
You
that?
haven't? Waverly
Oh,
Hills.
we've talked about it. We've thrown it out in messages back and forth to each other. Like we need to do some of these.
Yeah,
Get out
It's
of the state.
absolutely huge, isn't it?
Mhm.
it
Waverly Hills.
is. That's definitely a place you need like at least a whole weekend to
Gosh,
do one
yeah.
side.
At least, and then
You
you're
see-
probably still within the same building, a wing of the building.
Yeah, because you see a photo of it, it doesn't look much, but then
Massive.
I've seen someone do a live feed with oh my, yeah, it just stretches so long, doesn't it?
When somebody gets their
Oh.
drone out and goes over the top, it's just like there is
Oh my
no way you're going to get
gosh.
through all that.
You're not even going to walk it, are you? It's just too far.
Yeah.
So, have you ever come across a famous spirit then, Michael?
I don't know that I've come across a famous spirit.
Mhm.
I ask them their names, but I don't see them enough in their energy. Like I can't read off their energy, like saying, "Yeah, um,
That's
this
typical.
is so and so from such and such time period." So I'd have to say no. I don't know of famous people being there. Not to say that they're not, but on the flip side too is like the PX. There's two soldiers that were highly decorated there during World War II that trained there, and one that was the worst soldier of World War II. But we can't guarantee who comes to see us and
Yeah.
talk with us. So
That's right. Yeah.
I
And we really
honestly,
haven't been to any locations that might have given us that opportunity, really,
Okay.
as far
Yeah.
as famous.
Because we kind of have like prisons and there's some
Yeah.
well-known prisoners been there. So, you
right.
know,
We went to Alcatraz or something. That
yeah, you
would be
might be.
probably a whole different story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean, like
it.
that story at the jail. It's like it could have been Bonnie Parker sitting on
Yeah,
my lap,
could have
Yeah,
been.
but
but
it
you
could have
just
been
not.
any female inmate, I would hope, or it could have been a guy. I don't
I was
know.
gonna say, you don't
But,
even know that.
it's like,
Oh, well.
it's,
They might
it's
have been locked
energy.
up for a
So,
long time. Oh,
Silly.
Michael.
yeah, I try not to focus on trying to connect with just historic people. I just like to connect with whoever's there.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
same. Hmm.
Do you actually look into the history before you go?
We do.
Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
you
As
do
much as
that.
we can, but I try not to read so much into it so
Yeah,
the mind doesn't like start to fill in blanks of what's going on and you go,
that's
"Oh, that's
right.
this."
Oh, there's a
Oh
woman.
yeah,
Yeah, she's the well-known. Yeah.
yeah. I love reading the history. It's really funny because in high school, not a great history
No,
student,
it's boring, isn't it?
but now I'm
Hey,
Yeah.
I
so
majored in history.
Oh, wow, that's
I'm
cool.
so engrossed in learning about the location,
There you
but
go.
I really don't want to know from a paranormal perspective what has went on. I want to
Yeah,
experience that myself.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right. That's
I
cool.
just want to know enough to know, like, if there are names or things that happen that I can at least make a conversation about.
Yeah, I got that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
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 See, to me there's the fine line because when I went to Vicksburg with my parents, it wasn't a paranormal investigation. But as we're driving through on the tour, we're not hearing, we didn't do the audio tour. We're just driving through ourselves. And it's like I went into a trance, like memories like
Oh,
flooded
wow.
in. And I started pointing out the window and I was like, there was a Union group there and there were Confederates there, artillery was there, but none of these are present right now. And it's like I could smell the blood in the air, the gunpowder in the air.
God.
I could see the smoke, and it's like a movie playing out in front of me. And when I was
Wow.
talking to a medium, Catherine, she was like, "Yeah, you were reliving a memory. It's like you were in a trance. It's like your soul remembered something, and so you were there remembering what you needed to learn from there. And so it's like I'm sitting here watching, and if I went by the history books, I could not have been like, yeah, those were a Union platoon there and Confederate there because all the books are different. It's like I would be questioning myself to where I was just open to the experience and was like, yeah, I
Wow.
knew this was a Civil War site. So I knew blue and gray, pretty much what I was understanding and seeing.
That's awesome. I went to local castle, well-ish, called Tutbury Castle, and there's a guy there, and we're just in a circle, seance. All of a sudden, this guy just went. He'd gone. He couldn't get his attention. He was right in the middle of the battle, and the whole battle was playing out in front of him, and people were just getting killed all around him. It's just like he was there. So he came round, he just freaked out and legged it out because he was just like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
He'd
wow.
never actually, he goes out searching for paranormal, but he'd never actually seen anything like that.
Right.
Seen it in that way. And it's like, oh God, that was quite funny because,
Oh, that.
like, if you do get images yourself, and then there's someone like, oh my gosh, go, well, welcome to our world, So
Yeah.
it's quite,
And
yeah.
it's funny how like that experience I haven't been able to repeat really anywhere else.
It's a shame,
It's
isn't it? It'd be brilliant to be able to do that.
yeah, I think that's
I don't
why
know.
like Catherine and I were in agreement. It's like a memory because if I could do that with any paranormal spot, then yeah, I should be able to.
Yeah.
But because it was a space that I had known I had been in, I felt a connection to, that it's like it just opened up.
Yeah.
Is that to do with the past life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. So you do pick. Sorry, you do pick. I don't think someone wants this question. You do pick
Deep
something
breath.
up mediumistically, do you? Sometimes. Do you pick stuff up and communicate sort of on a mediumship level? Or
Sometimes I'll hear like something, but I won't say it. It's like more like I feel like they're trying to direct me somewhere. So
okay.
like Carla will attest to this, is we could be walking and next thing I know I'm veering off going somewhere else. And she's like, "Where did he go?" It's like I'll hear something and it's
Just
like it just
talking randomly.
draws my attention and I'll just go over and be like, "Okay, what's over here?"
Yeah.
Cemeteries are good for that.
Oh
Oh yeah.
gosh, yeah, cemeteries. They're amazing. Like people
Mhm.
say, like don't go because there's nothing happening there. It's just whatever. But
Mhm.
yeah, they're quite active, aren't they?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't know who hangs around there. Like what is it? Like deceased, the deceased person's loved ones. So if they visited them in life, are them visiting them afterwards? I don't know. A strange one, isn't it?
Yeah, and I mean, we all assume that just because their bodies are there and they've been there for centuries doesn't mean, part of them or a piece of them or anything
The
could be
energy.
left that wants to say, "Hey,
Mhm.
Yeah,
thank you for
that's
seeing
right.
me."
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I've heard that and I don't know if it's true or not, but I've heard that it's not that the spirits are all there hanging out that got buried there, but it's like when people show up,
mhm.
spirit can come in to either interact or tell a story or that type of thing. It's not like
Yeah,
you just walk in and everybody's there. It's
yeah.
I think it
I think
just
they're
depends.
kind of maybe drawn because,
Yes.
they kind of want their story to get out.
Mhm.
So, and you're giving them that opportunity, aren't you,
Yep,
really?
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
yeah.
Ooh, I like this question from Annette for you,
Oh,
Carla. Is
which
there a
one?
location that you would never
Ah,
go to investigate?
so she'd love to go to the Winchester Puzzle House.
Would love to go investigate.
So, is there a place you would never go investigate, Carla?
Um, I think I'd be hesitant to go to the Penhurst asylum.
okay.
I I think, and I don't know if it's just because of a lot of what gets said is happening in there, or if it's because people have brought in stuff.
Yeah,
And
get you.
yeah,
Yeah.
A bit of Zach then going on,
I'm sorry.
shouting at the spirit,
Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of then causing problems with others going maybe or
Yeah.
something.
Because there's a lot of places that I'm just, they're on like a bucket list
Yeah.
that we want to go to, but there's probably a few that are like, I don't know.
Yeah. What about you, Michael?
I have to say a place that I would probably never want to investigate would probably be the Yuma Prison. That's out in the middle of the desert. There's no
Yeah.
walls. There's no like
Arizona.
doors. And it
Oh,
was like people, like there was a woman who was supposed to be in solitary that just went berserk there because you're left to yourself.
oh
They
gosh.
didn't get, they were poorly treated there. And it was like the guards didn't care if you got out because you're in such a big desert, like center of a desert, that you'd
Just
be,
die
there's no
anyway.
water around. So it's like, where are you going to go?
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
why they put
wow.
them there.
The energy there, I think I would be too like aggressive to me,
Desperate.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's such a desperate situation, wouldn't it? Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other place I would question investigating purely based on the stories that comes from there would be the Amityville House.
Oh,
Oh wow.
I want to go there.
I'm like, part of me wants to go, but part of me is like, you see what happens to the people that go there, and it's like, do I really want to take that on and go there?
How real is it? You know?
I don't,
Have you
I
have
don't
you heard
know, but
information from reliable sources?
I do have a reliable source that says in the dead of winter with snow on the ground, the Amityville house has no snow.
Okay. Right.
So something is there messing with even nature. And so I'm like, yeah, I think I'm okay staying far from there. I don't know. I mean,
Wow.
if I was given the opportunity, I'd probably go, but I'd be like, okay, who am I going with?
Yeah.
Because it would not
Want to
be
watch your
with
back.
people. Yeah, it would not be with strangers meeting them for the first time to investigate. I'm like,
No.
nope, I got to go with people I know because
Yeah. Got you.
this place is too high on the radar.
Oh, bless you.
That'd kind of be like going into Lizzie Borden's house.
Well, actually, the funny thing about that is they actually found out Lizzie Borden was innocent.
Right.
Oh,
She's been
God.
cleared of the murders and they figured out who it was. But they say the stigma of the ground, everyone's still accusing her going
Ooh.
there, has kind of made it to where she's upset. But yeah, I wouldn't be too afraid to go there because I'd be like going, how do you feel being exonerated finally?
Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Hmm. Okay. We did have a nice comment from Andy about graveyard. I went to cemetery past an upright gravestone and returned the gravestone was a very noticeable different angle. So that's a weird one, isn't it?
That is.
Yeah.
Carla and I are well known for going and stopping at random cemeteries.
Yeah. Usually on the way to another location, it's just like,
Yeah.
this is
I
this
know.
is cemetery.
You drive
We
by them
even-
and think, "Ooh, that's a good one. I want to go there."
Yeah, we were even carpooling to an investigation we were in charge of and going, would it be really bad if we showed up like an hour late because
We had
we
to
went
keep
to
texting.
investigate this cemetery
keep-
over here?
We had to keep texting our team saying 1 o'clock, Well, maybe 1:30, probably 2:00.
Oh my God. I totally get you. Yeah.
Oh, well.
Because you're just such in a hurry, aren't you? You know, you've got 1 2 hour drive somewhere, but then there's somewhere a
That's
sign
right.
or something on the way, like, oh no, won't get another chance to get here. What shall I do? Won't take long.
Nope.
Then you're on paranormal time. Oops.
Yeah,
See, and
right.
that's the dangerous thing about putting Carla and I in the car together is
Oh
if we're
gosh.
leading an event, yeah, it may not be starting on time because we get sidetracked. And we do not
Oh God.
help each other with that. We're both like, yeah, let's go do it.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. That
Yeah,
sounds
we
so
don't. We're not very good about holding each other accountable for stuff. We
Oh,
just
you're
beg
just
for
brilliant.
forgiveness for the team.
Yeah, we're like, ask permission later.
Bless you. No, it just sounds wonderful how you just get on so well, and like the energy between you as well.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, like the spirit must be waiting for when you two arrive. You know, it's party time when
Like,
you
oh,
two
it's those
arrive, isn't
two
it?
again.
Yeah. Come
Yeah.
on, we're gonna have a good night.
That's right. Bring a deck of cards.
Oh yeah.
That's
We've been known
brilliant.
to play poker at a
Yep.
haunted place.
Oh
Yep.
my God, that's cool. Yeah, I've done singing. I probably made him like it, but there you go.
And I will say the one night I actually played poker with Carla at a haunted hotel. She was getting so mad at me because I don't play poker, and I'm getting like 4 of a kind, like not once, not twice. I think I had it like 4 times,
Oh
and we were
wow.
like, "This is ridiculous," and I'm like sitting there laughing because I'm like, I have never been this good at cards.
Oh
I
my
am the
gosh.
worst poker player, but apparently Spirit was like all on me, giving me the cards I needed.
Oh, that's cool.
On that investigation, before Michael and I played, I was playing with another investigator, and we were running a spirit box that we had like on the phone on the table. We just left it on the table while we were playing cards, and every time I was dealt cards, I would actually show it. It sounds crazy, but I'd show it to the phone.
To the
And
spirit box.
it would come back with like
Cheater.
4, 2, like ask
Oh,
for 2,
wow.
ask for 4, or it would be like hold or fold. It was just bizarre stuff, and I was like, no way.
Oh, that's
The other people in the
brilliant.
room were
No, but-
like, is that thing telling you what to do?
And the funny thing too was at one point, it was just before it was time to reveal it. She put her cards over. It goes cheater.
Yep.
Oh my God.
We were like, Carla, is there something you need to tell us?
There's the ace.
Oh wow.
Anyway.
No, that's cool. It's great when
But,
you sort of get that interaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other thing that tripped us all out was the gentleman we were playing with is kind of like African American descent. And back in the 1800s, it would have been rare for them to be playing poker at a table with, Anglo white people.
In a bordello.
So he's sitting there playing, and he goes and puts his cards down, won the hand, and all of a sudden you hear a click, click on the spirit box.
Like a
Oh
revolver.
my God.
Yeah, like he was about to be shot for
it
cheating.
was you heard the click click when he went to grab all the chips.
Yeah.
Oh my
Grab all the
God.
chips, and it was just like
Oops.
We were like, no, guys, he won fair and square. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh
It was
my
good.
gosh.
It was
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
fun investigations.
Yeah. And
Not
I
so
like
scary.
it because it's different. It's different though, isn't it? You know, like the people. You know, you got so many events, and you go in, you all want to get in activity, and you ask the same questions, and a lot of the time you do the same thing. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and Carla and I have been blessed that Paralinks Network approached us and gave us, time to do a show and
yay.
kept talking to us about it and saying, yeah, you guys would be great hosts. And So yeah, it's like really cool, and now we're teamed up with Parapost, and
That's
so we're
brilliant. That's Taryn's. Taryn does Parapost, does she?
uh
No. Oh,
Brian
Brian.
Lairdy, I
Oh,
think.
Yeah,
that's Brian. Yeah.
yeah,
That's yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and Stephen Woodard, I love being on his network because
Oh, okay.
he
Yeah.
like he's like, I'll talk to him about the show, and he's like, dude, it's whatever you want it to be.
Oh, that's cool.
There's like only like one or two ground rules that we have, and it's like he's like, you have complete autonomy. You guys can talk about and do what you want. And we're like,
That's smart.
that's so cool to have a network
yeah,
that gives
yeah,
us the freedom to go, yeah, today we're going to talk about this. Next week, we're going to talk about something totally different. And
Yeah,
yeah,
that's cool. Oh, that's brilliant. I've got a
yeah.
last question for you then.
Hmm.
So
sure,
I think you kind of want to get on, and it's only the afternoon, isn't it? Heading towards evening there. So, have you come across spirits that don't realise they're dead or haven't moved across?
I have, and it's kind of sad, but
Hmm.
at the
Yeah,
same time, it's interesting when you hear their story because it kind of makes sense sometimes when you
yeah,
hear the story and understand what's going on.
yeah. It can be heartbreaking, can't it?
Hmm.
Have you as well, Carla?
Yeah, yeah. Um, uh, I was doing the Estes methods with a smaller group of our team at a mansion, and there was like folklore and all this stuff about the tragedies about a husband shooting his wife
Oh,
and then killing himself, and there's just a lot of negativity and stuff. But when we went and investigated, um, it's funny, there wasn't one of us that ran into anything negative, any feeling of like horrific type bad stuff.
dinner time.
Not me. No, not me.
No, somebody went to the front door, and so my dogs are alerting
Yeah.
me someone's at the front door.
And
Mine's asleep.
it ended up being through the, and we weren't getting anything on any of our equipment throughout the entire house. So we just sat in the room where the husband allegedly, well, he did kill himself
Oh,
there, but we all just sat. It was extremely hot in that house. And we just did the Estes method. And one of the ladies had on the headphones, and then we were asking her questions, and obviously she couldn't hear us, but the responses that she was giving had nothing to do with our questions. We were
okay.
rattling off all kinds of questions about what this folklore was all about. She was rattling off information as if she was like the detective or the police that had to come to the scene.
Okay.
So they were explaining, she was explaining things that the detectives found, like from that perspective. And
Wow.
then we switched places. I put the headset on. They said that they asked a bunch of questions, and I was responding with completely different stuff, like they weren't even in the room, completely different subject matter. So we think a
Wow.
lot is residual, but my responses all had to do with the husband and the wife. um, the husband the wife kept begging for the husband to kill her because she had terminal cancer and was in a lot of
Oh,
pain. So she was begging him. He didn't want to do it, obviously,
yeah.
but it was the only way to relieve her pain.
Oh my
So
gosh.
his whole thing was um, he put her out of her misery and then went downstairs and killed himself. But
Oh
before he
no.
killed himself, across the street is a funeral home, and he was friends with that person that ran the funeral home,
Oh,
called them to come over, and then shot himself. So then that's how they were found. But it was interesting because everything she talked about had to do with the investigation, and everything I talked about had to do with why it happened and like a correction of the story.
oh my
So to
God.
me, all of us were like very emotional and just
Yeah.
verge of tears type of a thing.
Oh, bless you.
So that was
Oh,
ours.
that was quite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey. It does get like that though sometimes, doesn't it? Things you find out, and yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. With you being an empath as well, it's a difficult one, isn't it?
It
And the
But
is.
funny thing was, I wasn't there, but Carlos like messages me right after it happened. She's like, "You're not gonna believe this." It like was telling me the story, and I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's amazing, mind blowing. Right. Basically, we've got to the end of the show, but I want to thank you so much. So.
Thanks for having
Uh,
Yeah,
us.
it's
thanks
just
for
been
having us.
wonderful, and for everyone with all the questions, thank you
Oh
everyone
yeah,
for
thank you very
watching.
much.
It's been brilliant. So where can people find you? So when are you on your show? What
Our
night?
show is on the Paralinks Network. We're on Tuesday nights at 9 o'clock
Yeah.
Central Time.
So add 5 hours, 6 hours on for UK, but you
About
can
6
watch it on.
hours behind you
So
guys in
yeah,
the
so you
UK.
can watch it on the. You can actually watch it on catch up anyway, if not live, obviously.
And it's
So
also broadcast to my YouTube
yeah.
channel, so you can always catch it there.
And the name of the show is
Oh man, you put me on the spot.
Exploring Our
Exploring
Past
our secret
Secret
past.
Lives.
Exploring. Oops.
Exploring
Okay.
Our Secret
I'm
Lives.
trying to type it, and it's gone in 2 capitals. So we don't want that to do that, do we? Exploring
Michael and I have always talked about this very moment.
Yeah.
secrets past.
We laugh because we're so used to, like in the
There we go.
beginning with it, and that it's like, yeah. And when people put us on the spot, we look at each other like, what? What do we call it again?
There you go.
Oh my gosh.
Well done, Michael. You
Yeah,
did it.
I have to say though, I give a shout out to Carla all the time because all the ads, the promo ads, and the
I
graphics
can't do
that
that
go with the
sort of thing.
show, that's all Carla. I am not graphic.
Anytime. I love doing it.
I can't do graphic. Well, you know, you can see my attempt. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm really not good at that sort of thing. But yeah, but you've been brilliant, and the chemistry between you is just fantastic. So yeah, good
Yep.
luck to you, and I think I'd love to speak to you both again because
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we
And
didn't even mention the ufology. Huh?
no, but
Didn't even
one
get
last
that.
thing that was funny about our relationship is that we were at a Para Unity event, and Carla was sitting at a table with a bunch of people, and I was walking up, and all of a sudden she looks up and goes, "There's my investigation husband." And I freeze, and I'm like, all I heard was, "There's my husband." And I'm like, who is she talking about? Where? And she's like, "Michael." And I'm like, what? I'm not your husband. What? And she goes, "We investigate. You're like my investigation husband." I was like, oh, yeah, that I am.
Yeah, bless
It's
you.
like, it was just thrown at me. And it was like, I was like, wait, what did I just hear?
Oh, bless you.
So, yeah, we have
That was
fun.
funny.
Oh, your fans just come on.
Is my fan on? I don't have a fan on, actually.
Haven't you?
I
If
don't
you're
know.
talking about the ceiling fan, it's been
Yeah.
on the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, I noticed it earlier. Yeah. There you go, Andy. All right, but thanks so much and have a good
Sure.
evening.
Yeah, and we'll
Yeah.
happily come on anytime you want us.
Yep.
Thanks a lot. It's been a laugh. It's been brilliant. But yeah, take care and thanks everyone for watching. And
Thank
good night
you.
for now.
Bye.